Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. Seeing mostly cloudy conditions out there this morning with a slight breeze that has shifted out of the northeast since the earlier briefing, and seeing our temperature in the upper 60s. Overall, expecting mainly dry conditions as we move through the day today. We'll see mostly cloudy conditions for much of the day. We'll have a very slight chance of a light sprinkle, but not looking very likely, nor will it be impactful if we do see that. Otherwise, we'll see those clouds break as we get into the evening time frame, and we'll be in somewhat of a persistent pattern over the next several days with overall dry conditions. We'll keep a slight onshore breeze, and we'll see partly cloudy to mostly clear in the evening time frames, and then partly to mostly cloudy during the daytime. So taking a look at our current surface analysis, we have an area of low pressure well off to the east-southeast, and high pressure off to the well off to the northeast, and that's keeping that pressure gradient with the onshore flow across the region. That will continue as we move over the next few days here, and then seeing a boundary off to the west that's going to gradually approach and kind of stall out and deteriorate as it moves into the local region, and not expecting any precipitation or significant weather from that, just kind of reinforcing the seasonable temperatures, and we'll see high pressure building in as we get behind that. So looking at our upper level winds from this morning, sounding fairly weak winds as we move through the column here, more out of the northeast closer to the surface, and becoming more northwesterly as we get up into the mid and upper levels, and west northwesterly as well. Seeing that peak wind around 26 knots, and the freezing level today was at 13,000 feet. If we take a look at the current visible satellite here, we can see did have some breaks in the clouds this morning, and gradually continuing to see additional cloud cover building in through the area, and again expecting that to be the case as we move through the daytime hours today. We'll see potentially some breaks in the clouds as we move into the evening, but if we look at the short-term high-res model for the next 24 hours, as mentioned, mainly dry conditions. You can see some light reflectivity being simulated here. That will be that very low-end chance of a light sprinkle pushing through the area, but not looking very likely, just staying in the cloud cover through much of the day. And you can see some reflectivity along that boundary, stalling off to the west as we move into the evening, and that slowly starts to decay. We'll see some breaks in the clouds over the local area. We'll see a chance for some patchy mist or patchy fog around the area as we get into the early morning hours Thursday. If we zoom out here and look at the longer-term forecast, as mentioned, we'll be in somewhat of a persistent weather pattern here, with dry conditions prevailing over the local area. We'll see high pressure mainly in control. We'll still see a bit of an onshore float, and not very strong as we move over the coming days. And then moving into the weekend, we get this upper-level shortwave tracking north of the local area. That's going to bring a weak front into our region as we move through the day on Saturday. Right now, looks like that will be mainly a dry front, with just once again reinforcing some seasonable temperatures, but very low-end chance of maybe a light sprinkle with that as it pushes through, mainly during the afternoon time frame on Saturday. As you can see, European model showing some moisture here during the afternoon. Not looking to be anything too impactful if we do see any precip at this time. If we move into the end of the weekend, behind that we see high pressure once again, and then moving into the beginning of next week, we start to see what could be a much stronger upper level trough moving into the northeastern part of the country, once again bringing another front into the local area. Models have trended with a drier solution with that front pushing through. We'll keep a low end chance of some precip as that pushes through, but the models have dried out a bit with this, though still quite a few days out, so we could see some changes with that. But also starting to see some of those thickness values drop here with that trough, so we'll likely see some cooler temperatures moving in with this as we get into the beginning of next week. And then once again behind that front, we'll see high pressure keeping things mainly dry and quiet moving into next week. So if we look at our 24-hour weather risk chart for today, looking at green conditions moving through the next 24 hours, just that very slight chance of a light sprinkle or light shower Otherwise, seeing our high temperature right up around 73 degrees with mostly cloudy skies continuing through the entirety of the daytime hours. We'll see a slight breeze out of the northeast, 9 to 14 knots. Then we'll see those clouds start to break as we move into the evening, with those winds becoming fairly light out of the northeast, and that's going to allow temperatures to fall to around 60 degrees, and again, that slight chance for some patchy mist around the area. Tides running about a foot above normal. An extended forecast here again, looking at daily chances of partly to mostly cloudy skies with those clouds building in with that daytime heating. We'll see temperatures holding pretty steady for our highs in the mid 70s, possibly upper 70s, mainly as we get into Saturday. And our low temperatures will be right around 60 or lower 60s. We do have that 10% chance of any precip on Saturday. Again, not looking very impactful at this time with that boundary pushing through, looking to be fairly weak and dry. And then moving into next week, we'll see some additional cloud cover and slightly breezy conditions with that more potent upper level trough tracking north of the area and that boundary pushing through, and just a 10% chance of precip with that, as well as things have trended drier. And then behind that, seeing our low temperature down in the 50s and our high temperature right around 70 degrees as we move into the day on Tuesday. So that's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.